Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing fine. Welcome to Vishwam EduTech Spelling Bee webinar session 2. So before I start this session, let us have a quick look back what we have discussed in our previous session. In our last session, we have discussed about introduction to phonetics, in which we came across why do we need to learn phonetics and origin of English, why do silent letters exist, and what is IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet. And we have seen the spelling bee book which we have provided, and what is the use of that book, how to scan, and how to listen to the words, how to listen to the pronunciation of the words. And in this session, we are going to learn about phonetical sounds. How many phonetical sounds are there in English? How are they derived? And in our previous session, if you remember, as we discussed, the definition of phonetics. What is phonetics? Study of speech sound, study of a sound or study of a language. Because language is nothing but collection of sound. So, study of sound in the sense, how do we study the sound? So, we study our sound in these following ways. Articulatory phonetics. In articulatory phonetics, the study of a sound will be in such a way how a sound is produced. To produce a sound, we use our mouth, right? And we have organs of speech inside our mouth through which we produce a sound. So, for example, these are the organs of speech which we use to produce a sound. Lips, lips, teeth, tongue, alveolar ridge, the upper part of the mouth, so what is alveolar ridge? The upper part of the mouth behind the teeth, that's alveolar ridge. And we use hard palate. So next to alveolar ridge, we call alveolar ridge as chiguru in Telugu. We call palla chiguru, right? So behind that we have hard part. That's called as hard palate. And we use velum. Velum means next to hard part we have a soft part. That's called velum. And uvula. What is uvula? There is a hanging tongue inside our mouth, right? Here, at the starting point of our throat, we have a hanging tongue, the small part which hangs. That's called as uvula. And we use a glottis. What is glottis? Throat. So all these are called as organs of speech. And which organ is used in the production of speech? So everything is studied in articulatory phonetics. So what is meant by articulatory phonetics? Production of speech, study of production of speech, the organ which we are using to produce the sound, that is dealt in articulatory phonetics. And what is acoustic phonetics? So if you observe, I am pronouncing it as acoustic, not acoustic. According to International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA, the pronunciation of this particular word is acoustic, not acoustic. So if you know how to recognize the phonetical transcription of a word, you will know the correct pronunciation of the word. This is what we discussed in the previous session, right? So here, for this particular word, it is acoustic. IPA has given the phonetical transcription as acoustic. So if IPA decides, there is no other way. We need to pronounce it as acoustic. It doesn't have ow sound, it has oo sound, so it's acoustic. So let me give you the phonetical transcription. As we discussed, a phonetical transcription is present in between two forward slashes. These slashes are called as slangs. So here we have oo sound. This is oo, right? So here we don't have ow sound. So for acoustic, for acoustic, it is decided as acoustic because the IPA has given the phonetical transcription in this way. So if you know how to recognize these sounds, you can learn the correct pronunciation. So in our further classes, we are going to learn how to recognize these phonetical symbols. So in acoustic phonetics, we study the physics of sound. So a sound is produced near our mouth and it travels in air and it will reach the person who is listening to our speech, right? So here in articulated phonetics, we study about production of speech. Here in acoustic phonetics, we study the physics of speech, how a sound wave is traveling in air. So that is studied in acoustic phonetics. Coming to this, auditory phonetics. In this part of phonetics, we study, so in this part of phonetics, we study how the sound is received by your ear. So here in articulated phonetics, we study about the production of sound in acoustic, how the produced sound travels in air, and here in auditory phonetics, we study about how the sound is received by our ear. Perception of sound, we call it. Perception means nothing but receiving, reception, how you are receiving a particular sound. So in this way, in these three ways, we study a particular sound. So we have 44 phonetical sounds. These 44 phonetical sounds were given by Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is the father of phonetics. We consider him as father of phonetics. Here if you observe, Daniel Jones, a pioneer of British phonetics, often called the father of British phonetics. Here, why did I mention British phonetics? In our last class, someone has asked me what is the difference between British English and American English. Usually we have two kinds of accents, two types of accents. One is British accent and another one is American accent. So both are familiar and similar, but we have few differences. We Indians, we need to follow British accent because we came to know there is a language called English because of British. And our academics are designed in our academics are designed according to English grammar. So according to British English grammar. In correct words, we can say, if you want to say, it's about the British English, American English. Our academics, our Indian academics, they are designed according to British English. So here, if you observe the major differences, mainly we have differences for R and T sounds. So here are few examples. In British, CAR, this word is pronounced as car. Car. Give me my car keys. In British English, they don't pronounce R. Mostly they roll it. In British English, we have a rule. If next to R, if next to R, if next to R, if we have vowel, then we can pronounce R. If next to R, if there is consonant, we should not pronounce R. And if next to R, and if next to R, if we don't have anything, if a word ends with R, we need not pronounce R. So these are the R rules which we have in British English. If next to R, if there is vowel, only then we need to pronounce the R. If next to R, if we don't have anything, we need not pronounce R. If next to R, if we have consonant, still we should not pronounce that R. So R is pronounced only if there is vowel next to it. So this is the British rule, and British people, they follow this. And when it comes to American English, we don't have that rule. And here T, the sound T as the sound, the. In American English, they pronounce T as the. So let us see some examples. In British English, this word is called as car, whereas in American English, car. This word is pronounced as water. Water. Here I'm not pronouncing R. I'm just rolling the R. I'm skipping the R. It's water. T sound. T. When it comes to American English, this is pronounced as water. Water. Most of the people, they will get confused regarding this word, whether this is schedule or schedule. In British English, it's pronounced as schedule, whereas in American English, it's pronounced as schedule. So here, as I said, we need to follow British rules, we need to follow British English. So we need to pronounce this as schedule. Schedule is the correct pronunciation. And another one, tomato. Tomato. Whereas in American English, tomato. We usually say tomato, tomato, everything is both are same. There's a saying, tomato, tomato. So it comes from this. So it's British English and American English. So both, we, as I said, we need to follow British English. But we Indians, we are influenced by American pronunciations. So let us try to correct ourselves, and let us try to follow, let us learn these words, and let us try to pronounce correctly. So these are the phonetical transcriptions. If you observe, here we don't have R sound. So in our further classes, you will be able to recognize all these phonetical transcriptions. So still we haven't came across these phonetical transcriptions, right? You don't know how to recognize these phonetical symbols. We haven't discussed that. So I gave you these. in the center. These are the pronunciations. See, now for the webinars, we will learn how to recognize these phonetical transcriptions. So now you came to know the difference between British accent and American accent, right? As we discussed, we have 44 phonetical sounds in English. So how do you know from where does these 44 phonetical sounds derived from? Can anyone guess? Yes. These 44 phonetical sounds were derived from 26 alphabet. And here I want to discuss about one more thing. Most of the people, they pronounce this as alphabets. If anyone asks how many alphabets we have, they answer 26, because they think A is an alphabet, B is an alphabet, C is an alphabet. So 26 together, so it's alphabets. They think the plural form of alphabet is alphabets. That's correct. The plural form of alphabet is alphabets. But A, B, C, D, these are called as letters. So we have 26 letters in English alphabet. So all these 26 letters together, they are called as English alphabet. So from this moment, let us correct ourselves. 26 alphabets together, they are called as alphabet. Then what is alphabets? When do we use alphabets? English alphabet. We have 26. Greek alphabet. We have 24 letters in Greek alphabet. In Arabic alphabet, we have 28 letters. So these together, they are called as alphabets. So now you understood, right? What is the difference between alphabet and alphabets? 26 letters together, they are called as alphabet. So each language have its own alphabet. So if you are referring to group of alphabets, it's about different alphabets. If you want to mention about a particular language, then you refer it as alphabet. 26 letters in English together are called as English alphabet. So these 26 alphabets, we have two partitions, vowels and consonants. We know this, right? There are 5 vowels and 21 consonants. What are these 5 vowels? A, E, I, O, U. What are these 21? Sorry, what are these 5 vowels? A, E, I, O, U. And what are these 21 consonant letters? We know B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z. Right? Can anyone say what are vowels? I'm meant to ask what is the definition of vowels? In our school, we have 5 letters in vowels, right? A, E, I, O, U. Why are these letters separated? You might have think there are no words without vowels, right? You might think, right? You know that. Here, if you observe, we don't have vowels in these words. If you rephrase the sentence which we spoke, there are no words without vowels. Let us rephrase it in a correct way. There are no words without vowel sounds. Yes, please note this. We don't have any word in English which doesn't has vowels. Here, if you observe, these words end with Y. And in this place of Y, the sound is I. Cry, dry, try, sky. It's making a vowel sound I. Y is making the vowel sound I. In this case, if Y is ending with the sound of I, then Y is considered as vowel. In places where Y is making sound of I, then Y is considered as vowel. When Y makes the sound of I, then Y is considered as vowels. Vowel. So now there are no words without vowel sounds. And that's not the definition of vowels. We have a definition of vowels. We have definition for vowel. Alphabet sound produced by the mouth, by the tongue not touching the upper part of the mouth. Those are called as vowels. Yes, if you observe A, E, I, O, U. Here my tongue is still, it's not touching the upper part of the mouth. This is one point. And next, alphabet sound produced by the mouth without any obstruction. A, E, I, O, U. There is no obstruction here. Alphabet sound produced by the mouth with free airflow, with free flow of air. A, E, I, O, U. Here the air is flowing free. There is no obstruction. My tongue is not touching the upper part of the mouth. And these vowel sounds are just vocal sounds. They are made by our vocals. A, E, I, O, U. Now you came to know the definition of vowels, right? Once again, what is the definition of vowel? Alphabet sound produced by the mouth, by the tongue not touching the upper part of the mouth, right? A, E, I, O, U. Tongue is still, it's not touching the upper part of the mouth. There should be no obstruction. A, E, I, O, U. There is no obstruction if you observe. Free flow of air. A, E, I, O, U. Right? And vocal sounds. A, E, I, O, U. So A, E, I, O, U, these are the vowel sounds which fulfill all these cases. If you observe consonants, B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V. See, See, there is stress. I'm using my tongue. There is obstruction. For few alphabets, there is no free flow of air. So all this. So the alphabet, the letters which fulfill these categories: tongue not touching the upper part of the mouth, no obstruction, free flow of air, right, and vocal sounds. These letters which fulfill these cases, they are separated as vowels. Here we have 5 vowels and 21 consonants, right? These 5 vowels, they make 20 sounds, and 21 consonants, they make 24 sounds. So 20 sounds among the 44 sounds, they were derived from vowels, and the remaining 24 phonetical sounds, they were derived from consonants. So let us have a clear picture. Let me write it on the board. We have 26 letters, right? These 26 letters together, they are called as alphabet. We have 2 partitions. We have consonant and vowels. We have 21 consonants and 5 vowels. So among 26 letters, we have 5 vowels and 21 consonants. These 21 consonants, they make 24 phonetic sounds. These 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U, they make 20 sounds. Together, 24 sounds made by consonants and 20 sounds made by vowels. Together, we have 44 phonetical sounds, right? So we have 44 phonetical sounds in British phonetics. Here, these 44 phonetical sounds, they are derived from 26 alphabet. We have 21 consonants and we have 5 vowels. So these 21 consonants, they make 24 phonetical sounds, and these 5 vowels, they make 20 phonetical sounds. And if you look here, among these 20 sounds, among these 20 phonetical sounds made by vowels, we have 12 monophthongs and diphthongs. So the 20 sounds made by these vowels, among these 20, we have 12 monophthongs and 8 diphthongs. So what are monophthongs? Mono, if you look at the word monophthongs, mono means, yes, correct, single. Single vowel sound will produce single phonetical sound. Monophthongs are called as pure sounds. They are not mixed sounds. A, E, A, they are single sounds, right? Pure sounds. They are monophthongs. If you look at diphthongs, the word die suggests die means two, right? So diphthongs are nothing but two vowel sounds combined together to form a new sound. Or in other words, we can say two monophthongs combined together to form a new sound. Combine a monophthong, for example, a. Combine another monophthong, u. Together they form o. So, in this way, two monophthongs or two vowel sounds combine together to form a new sound. So, among these 12 monophthongs, we have 7 short sounds and 5 long sounds. So, what are short and long sounds? What is this, student? Dear students and teachers, how do you pronounce this word? It's foot, my foot, your foot. If you think this as foot, it's wrong. This is foot. And how do you pronounce this word? Food. Food. This is foot. This is food. Food. How do if you ask me, so why do you call this as foot? Why do you call this as food? Because IPA gave the phonetical transcription for foot as foot, and for food it's food. This is oo sound. This is oo sound. This is short sound. This is long sound. So now you understood, right? What is short and what are long sounds, right? We have e, oo, right? I hope you understand now. So just oo is short, oo is long. E is short, E is long sound. So in our next webinar session, we are going to discuss about long sounds and short sounds. So let us complete starting from these monophthongs and diphthongs. So in our next class, we are going to learn about monophthongs. So how monophthongs are divided into two, long and short. And before going to that, let us discuss about syllabification. Why do we break words into syllables? What is the use of it? We will learn in our next session. So here, if you observe vowels, monophthongs and diphthongs, we have 7 short sounds, 5 long sounds. In diphthongs, we have 8 sounds. So diphthongs are nothing but mixture of 2 monophthongs. So among these 44 phonetical sounds in English, if you try to remember 16 sounds, you can easily recognize all remaining sounds. I will teach you a technique how to recognize, how to remember these 16 sounds. So don't miss our further sessions. As I said in my first webinar session, consistency is key to success. Consistency, no attending session with interest and showing dedication, and the one and only and the most important thing, please maintain a notebook and pen. Please maintain a notebook and pen, because one time writing is equal to 5 times reading. So please maintain a notebook for our webinar sessions. Write from the first webinar session what you have learned in the first webinar session, and in this webinar session what you have learned. Let us maintain a notebook so that everything you learn will be at one place. And once if you refer before attending my next webinar, you will have a clear idea of what you are about to learn. You will have an idea of what you have learned and what you are about to learn. So if you want our webinar to be available, if you want our webinar to be easily reminded to you, please subscribe to our official Vishwam EduTech YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to get notification for live, so that you will never miss our live webinar sessions. So if you have any doubts, please pin down in the comment. In our next session, your doubts will be clarified. Thank you, dear students and teachers. Thank you for now. Bye. If you have any doubts, please comment in the chat box.